Hey there, I'm Bryce.
I'm Adam.
And today we're doing something a little different. Instead of our normal videos, we are doing a podcast episode. Trying something a little bit different this time. What we're going to do is instead of doing reviews, we thought we would do a podcast every now and then and kind of talk about some things that we're doing that are a little more newsworthy maybe about what's going on. A little bit of just everything. So yeah, that's what this first episode is going to be about. Two specific things. We're going to talk about the Ennies, which for those who don't know, Adam, what are the Ennies?
The Ennies are an annual awards, not really ceremony, but
Right.
annual awards for tabletop role-playing games. So you get a lot of different categories like best interior art, best cover art, best writing, best overall game. So there's a lot of different categories, and they always find some really interesting things to nominate, stuff that's usually not on your radar.
Right. And I think you can look now if you want to at ennies-awards.com. The 2023 nominees are still up. Just so everyone knows, the time of recording, July 27th, 2023, voting has ended. The only thing that's still open is the Fan Awards for Best Publisher, which ends August 3rd. But you can go through, and like Adam said, there's a couple of different ones, and we're not going to talk about all of them, but I just wanted to go through and just show y'all how much there is really to vote on for this. We've got the Judges Spotlight winner, which is really cool. They basically have judges who come in, and they're from all over different areas of the RPG kind of circuit when it comes to they've either be a publisher, developer, or somebody who just runs a YouTube channel, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that sort of thing. But we've got the Judges Spotlight winner. We've got Best Adventure, Best Aid or Accessory, both digital and non-digital.
And that's what's really neat because, dividing them up, like they're so different.
Right, absolutely. Because it's something that you could have normally, but then also have something that is more of like a digital aid, which I think is really cool. Best art, I like that they do both cover and interior.
Because they can be very different.
Right. Best cartography, which I know Adam probably looked at up and down.
Love it. There's some cartographers on there who I did not know.
There.
Which, yeah, for shame.
Yeah, for shame. News to everyone here. We've got Best Electronic Book, Best Family Game / Product, which I think was interesting. We won't necessarily dive deep into that one, but I want to actually make a comment on it later. Best Free Gamer Product.
Very nice.
Yeah, always nice to see, and always some really cool stuff in there. Best Game, Best Layout and Design, Best Monster / Adversary, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Best Online Content. We are not on there, unfortunately, but soon. Best Organized Play, which also is really cool. I don't think organized play with role-playing games as much. I know of like the D&D Adventure Leagues and Pathfinder Leagues, but like those aren't even on there. That's not what's on there, which is really cool. Best Podcast. Again, we're not on there, but soon. Best Production Values. Best RPG-related product. Best Rules. Best Setting, Best Supplement, Best Writing, and then the final category, which is Product of the Year.
That's the coveted award right there.
Right. And really being given the opportunity to win an Ennie is a really huge deal. A lot of this stuff, we'll go over a few ones that interested us, and I didn't know some of these games at all. Like somebody who really tries to keep their foot in all the RPG business, I was like, man, I don't even know what half of this is.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ennie Awards, like I've said before, some of it's just not on your radar, but a lot of it is stuff that maybe it went through Kickstarter and, we didn't, catch it when it was on Kickstarter, or they're independently produced, and you'll get them on like the Itch website.
I was about to say the Itch website has been huge for me this year.
Yeah,
finding stuff.
There's so many. Like I guess the word would be boutique games.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got high production quality, like amazing art, and it's all stuff that you're not going to immediately think of going to a store, but you might find some of it in a store. I've actually been to, so 2 of our local stores have some things that are on the Itch website.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So, like if you see anything on this list, reach out to your local game store, and if they don't have it, maybe they can get it.
I think that's really cool, and I think what's great about Itch that I've really enjoyed is for people who don't want to go through the hassle of printing a book, getting it published and all that, but they've done the artwork for all of it. They're a one-person creator, and that creator, they did the art, the layout, everything, and they just released a short 5-6 page little zine that they're like, hey, it's $5 to buy, or the site will print on demand it for you. And I think that's really cool. It's something for like, even if you're not interested necessarily in doing a massive game, because we have things like D&D Beyond and like the Dungeon Guild and all that, but this is something really for anybody, not just a specific product. So talking about the ones that we were going to go into and interest us, the first one I want to talk about is the Judges Spotlight Awards, which is basically every single judge picks one thing that interested them throughout, and it could be anything. Could be an adventure book, could be a product, whatever. And so there's 5 of them. And the first one is One Breath Left, which is a really, really cool one that you can buy online. It's a print and play if you want. But it's kind of like a survival, build your own escape spaceship kind of thing.
And you can play it as a video game.
Right.
Which I thought was really wild. It's got a little video game version, which I played through, and it was really fun.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool thing that he's like actually gone through and made that sort of development, but really cool one. Second one is the Dungeons of Drakkenheim, which is a pretty cool supplement sort of. It's like a supplement campaign sort of setting?
It's an adventure for 5e. It gives me some Frostgrave feel, because there was a big calamity in a city that it was like asteroids or something destroyed a city, and now it's like, hey, there's all this stuff to find, all this treasure all over the city.
Right.
Looks like a really good, like if you want an unusual campaign for 5e, looks like a good one.
The thing I like about it most of all, I almost played in one. Unfortunately, it fell apart. It was an online game, but a lot of the stuff that's really cool about it is it does what if anyone remembers, the original 5th edition Adventures of Middle-earth book did, where it said replace all of your character class and everything with just these. It does that as well, where it's like there are only certain backgrounds and different things in the adventure, and so it really is great. And not only is it something where it's an adventure book, there's campaign settings, there's models they produce now for it, so it's like a whole big thing.
That's neat. So the next one is Void 1680 AM. It is a radio. It is an AM radio role-playing game. I saw that. It's like, what? Like, can you make that a role-playing game?
Right.
And you not only can, but you can record your session and post it, and it can go out on AM radio.
Right. Like,
what?
It's insane how cool it is. It interfaces with Spotify, it looks like, as well too, and like it is that. It's like you're developing a 12-track list to go through the night and kind of explain it. And yeah, it's a really cool, again, one of those small ones I've not heard of, but it has that very distinct style of just like you're all alone in this little place playing out your radio and people are calling in. It's a really fun one.
The next one, Moonlight on Roseville Beach, a queer game of disco and cosmic horror, instantly got my attention.
Absolutely.
And as soon as I saw the cover, it's like, okay, so this is like the covers of the old paperbacks, like the vintage sleaze paperbacks from the like 50s and 60s. Like, okay, like everything about that title, you got me.
Right.
Like I at least want to get this book just to flip through it and see what's going on.
It's a very interesting book because it's set in this world that's very 1960s kind of style, but real world meets some supernatural with it, And I think that really it does look interesting. And the last one, for Judge's Spotlight winner is Faycraft, which is a weird one to talk about because it's not an adventure. It is a D66 Fey generator.
Yes. So it can be used with anything really.
Right.
It's this really intrigued me. I mean, there wasn't much as far as stuff to look at for it. So I think you only see the cover and then one internal panel of the pictures, but the idea that fairy is always unusual and it's disarming to people who encounter it. That's a really great concept. The fact that you've got a book for constantly generating new fairy creatures was so great. I really hope that somebody creates some kind of miniature maker for that.
Oh yeah.
Because if you could go to your book and you roll the dice, you come up with some weird creature and then stick it into the miniature maker. It's like, I mean, come on, like Hero Forge,
Yeah, like that's a really cool design actually.
Pair up with those folks.
Yeah. So we'll talk about again at the end of this. If you had to pick one of these to be your winner out of all these that interest you the most, which one would you pick?
I really want to buy the Moonlight in Roseville Beach.
I'm agreeing with you.
I mean, honestly, I kind of want all of them, but that's the one that as soon as I saw it, was like, I could tie that into so many things. It looks like it's not really a blank canvas, but there's so much to mine from it.
You reminded me a lot of Fiasco.
Yeah,
that's a really good kind of way.
I didn't make that connection.
Yeah, that was something that where I went, man, this has kind of got a Fiasco-esque feel to it.
Yeah, I could dig that.
If I had to pick one that wasn't though Moonlight, probably One Breath Left. I think that's a really cool, fun one. That's just a little bit different, a little bit survival-y. Probably the one I would pick out of those if I didn't again pick the same, but I do think Moonlight is probably the one that kind of grabs me the most.
For me, my second pick would be the Void 1680 AM.
Yeah,
I don't know, as somebody who grew up with hearing AM radio a lot and living out in the country, and a lot of times you couldn't get FM radio, that I don't know, that was just super interesting to me. So the fact that you can even make a role-playing game based on that just blew my mind.
Absolutely. So that's ours for Judge's Spotlight. We're going to move on to the next one that interests us, which is Best Art, specifically covers. And there are 5 options to choose from, and we're going to go through and talk about each one. So the first one is for Blackbird, Servant of the Gods, the special edition cover. And man, oh man, do I have to tell you, I looked at this and went, where is my Viking stuff? There's
a lot going on.
It's a lot going on. I don't know if it's almost too much for me personally, but it is a really cool looking design.
Yeah.
Don't know a whole lot about the book, so
I think the one good thing that the cover does is it does give you a feel for what that setting is.
Oh yeah.
So what you're as far as like the flavor, what you're getting from the book cover.
Right. I would agree with that. Second up, we've got the Historica Arcanum, the City of Crescent, and
I love it.
Yeah, do you know what this one looks like to me? Very much if anyone knows Lamentations of the Flame Princess kind of artwork. It has that kind of creepy, dark, but sinister style with the weird vampire fang mustachy kind of look. I don't know.
If you're a fan of the band Ghost, it's like a Ghost album cover.
That is a good way of putting it.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that looks like like an album cover.
Yeah, it's a really nice one. Third up, we have Shiver Gothic Secrets of Spire Home Special Edition cover.
Yeah.
Which
it's clean.
Oh yeah.
It's simple. Shiver's been around for a while, and
Gothic came out last year on Kickstarter, I believe.
Yeah.
I ended up not Kickstartering it. I wanted to, and then we ended up not doing it, but we actually sat down and talked about it for a while, and we were like, man, this looks so cool.
Yeah, I think this this cover for Shiver Gothic, I mean, it's like Nosferatu.
Literally what I was going to say.
It's very, like, just the fact that it's so clean looking, and it manages to accomplish that you instantly know what you're getting.
Right.
That's perfect.
Next up, we've got the Swords of the Serpentine front cover, which again we know Adam is excited for after if you've watched our one on our Free RPG Day 2023 stuff.
I can't wait for the book. I'm not crazy about the cover.
I don't love it either.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. I mean it looks like interior art. I would have much rather had maybe something that was more storybook, that was just clean.
I like the Free RPG Day cover better.
I did too.
Yeah, like that bluish kind of style
Yeah.
to it. I like this one, but it doesn't tell you anything. And, we can go back and say, well, the other ones kind of with the vampire on the front cover don't either. But this one, yeah, it just doesn't really grab me. It doesn't have a feel. I feel like it's close to that old school dime novel fantasy paperback cover,
Yeah.
but just not 100% there.
But like I will say this, not every book needs to tell you what is inside it by the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I like for them to do that if I don't know anything about it. But with this book, I don't know. I think honestly, I think that you get more about what's in that book from the font, from the letter, the lettering that they use. That tells me more about like the feeling of this world than that cover ever will.
I would agree with that. It has that sort of, again, I talked about it with the Free RPG Day, that Arabian-esque sort of style to it. Very very interesting. Again, maybe not our favorite, but definitely a good one still.
I'm still gonna buy it.
Yep. And then the last one is XANADU, a Nibiru expansion, which I don't know a whole lot about Nibiru role-playing, but man, this cover.
It's dark fantasy. It's got kind of a sci-fi, almost like Elder Gods kind of feel to it.
This very, very much like like you said, it looks old, but with a sci-fi twist with this dark. Yeah, it is. It's a gorgeous cover, and if you want to talk about how you said doesn't tell you, I don't know jack crap about this game by looking at the cover, but man, what is going on?
It draws you in.
Yeah.
And the same thing can be said of the Nibiru core rulebook. That cover, I remember seeing it for the first time and just thinking, I've got to find this in a store. So far, I haven't. I've not seen it in any of our local shops. But that doesn't mean that it's not out there. But again, it's another one that I want. Maybe not just for the artwork. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the game is good, but it's definitely bringing me in.
Absolutely. So looking through all these, Adam, best art cover. Which one are you picking?
I really like the Shiver Gothic.
I'm gonna go with you, man. Like it is, and I can tell that because if you look at it online, it's got the black with the red as the light on it with the shadow, and with that gold kind of circle around it, which I hope is actually like that gold filigree kind of style.
It's like a halo.
Yeah. Oh man, it is. Yeah, it is real. What you picking second if you had to pick a different one?
I would go with the Nibiru.
Okay, I actually think the Historia Arcanum one. Okay. I really like that one. I think they're both good, but they're definitely. It's funny to me that the ones I like the most are both very vampiric.
Yeah.
As that, but It's a really cool ones. Yeah, I definitely, again, they have those online on the Ennies Web Awards. Just the art collage is really cool to look through. Next, I will talk about Best Art Interior, which is some really cool stuff because I'm going to be honest with you, I knew what 3 of these books were. I did not know what 5 out of the 5. I only knew 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I was I had seen I'd seen Flabbergasted and the Oz book and Vason.
So I did not know the Oz book.
The Oz book, I remember seeing it on drive-through, and because I'm a huge fan of the L. Frank Baum Oz books, like, not just The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, but everything. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, so it's using like really old style stuff. So that's what drew me into that.
Going through each one, let's talk about Flabbergasted, which actually I just picked up at the store the other day, and I'm excited to run.
It's beautiful.
What a kooky, let me say that, what a kooky book. I have really enjoyed flipping through it. If you are somebody who doesn't like combat heavy RPGs and wants something that's silly and fun and less about fighting and more about hijinks and this one is a book for you. And I love the art. It is a modern take on 1920s art. That is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, and it's just what was the in order to get in the frame of mind for this, like maybe watch episodes of Faulty Towers.
Yep. Faulty Towers was listed on the back, and then good old Jeeves and Woosters, which my dad hooked me on as a kid reading. I love that stuff. There's the Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry ones that are really good episodes if you want to watch of those. Just a very funny, silly book overall, but the art is really great. I like it. Again, it's that 1920s style, but like modernized in a way. Very clean cut, very fun, bright colors. Really a good one. Next up, we have Incantations, which, this one.
It's so strange because every panel they show is so different. It's there's high level of color, high level of detail. It's almost oil paintings. I mean, I know they're probably all going to be digital paintings. I'm sure someone didn't sit down and do these as oil paintings physically, but because I mean that's kind of a document of art. I know some people do it, but not many do. Yeah. But every single panel that I looked at was just gorgeous.
The artwork's insane. I mean, you look at this ones that they showed. The first one is of this like skeleton in a field of flowers, and the next page some girls holding a giant world full of water with a mountain, and the last one is of like some skeletal girl with some like weird creature behind her with like candles, and it all fits that same sort of style that you're talking about, that oil painting kind of style to it.
It feels very fairy.
Oh yes.
So again, in that frame of like fairyland kind of stuff, but very there's that darkness.
Yeah.
Not
something is off, but the trickstery side of Fae, not the fun side.
Not Disney, more like the Tolkien, on fairy stories.
Right. So very cool book though. Definitely one to look at for up ahead. Next up is the Oz book, which again I did not recognize, but I will say 100% agree with Adam. The artwork feels like the old books when they were originally published, with the design and the artwork. Everything's pretty much in black, gray, and green, which I think is really cool actually. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a gorgeous book, and I definitely want it for my collection to go next to my I've got the big green leather bound. It's the first 10 books.
Oh wow. And
they sold them at Walden Books many years ago, and so you can't get them unless you're willing to shell out lots of money. So I've read all of those and read them to my kids. I want this book to go on the shelf next to those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a gorgeous cover on it too as well. I was actually surprised this one wasn't up for best cover. Like I actually really like how simplistic it is.
Yeah.
Very much it's a good book overall. Next up is Seven Sinners, which
Also, how did that not get the cover?
Oh man,
the best
like,
cover
whoo,
nomination.
it is beautiful. This, and it is one of those things where I was talking to Adam before we started on, that there seems to be, if you are looking for new RPG stuff that's breaking the new kind of walls of RPGs, Italy and Italian publishing is where it seems to be, because this whole book is in Italian from what I understand, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, it is stunning, creepy, fallen goddess kind of style to it.
Yeah. If you're a fan of, like Dante's Inferno,
Very much
Paradise
so.
Lost, any of the Gustave Doré illustrations of Paradise Lost, anything like that, then you're probably going to gravitate to it.
Oh, yeah. And again, just gorgeous art that it has the style of old school painting with new twist or a dark feeling
It's
to it.
very dark.
Yeah, but in a good way. It is definitely something that I think I like the look of, and I definitely, I don't understand why it wasn't picked up for best cover,
Yeah.
but man, it is a cool book, but maybe not for both. So, and then last but not least is Vaesen RPG, the new Mythic Britain and Ireland book.
And this one, I've liked the artwork in all of those books. The examples that I saw from that book are very similar to the to some of the other books, but then there's some that almost look like Edward Gorey illustrations. If you're familiar with any of Edward Gorey's art, very inspirational to Tim Burton's style. So there's some really good panels.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff in here. If you're a fan too of that kind of style that Vaesen has kind of been known for recently with their artwork and stuff, like, I think it's good. As somebody who is married to someone from the UK, it is definitely something that interests me as a book. But I was actually a little saddened by what they showed for the option. Not a lot, but what they showed was good. Just wasn't full-blown artwork covers like some of the other stuff.
Yeah, you kind of have to look around on the internet and look at the really good pages, some of the full page artwork that they have in it. So just the ones that they showed on the Ennie website, they're not as good as some of the others.
All right, so that's all for Best Art Interior. Adam, if you had to pick one to be your top, what are you picking?
I'm gonna go against what even though I want to choose the Oz book, I'm probably gonna go with Seven Sinners.
I agree. Seven Sinners and Incantations, I think, are both great books. Those to me, if you want to look at RPGs as an art form, that to me is something definitely where there's just so much style and design to those books. Like, the other stuff is great too. Like, don't get me wrong, those ones gravitate towards me, more than anything else. Next up, we're going to go to Best Free Game and Product. First up, we have is Exclusion Zone Botanist, which if you didn't look up, or if no one's looked up before, it tricks you. It's a solo hex botanist game, but it's got some horror aspects to it. Like,
that was a big surprise to me, and I want it.
Yeah, like, it is definitely really cool that the person who writes it is expanded on it, add some stuff. Again, it's on itch, very easy to pick up and get as a free game as well. Even the expansion, I believe you can pay. It's pay as you want is I think what makes it free, but it's definitely a really cool little fun system. Definitely makes it to where you go, this seems like really oh no.
And throw a few bucks at them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime you gotta, pay what you want, don't just grab it for free. Give them a few bucks, help them out.
Absolutely. Next up, we got Root the RPG Talon Hill Quick Start, which, the Root Quick Start is solid. I think. Like,
love the Root RPG.
Right, it's a pretty good one. Next up, we have Shine of the Jaguar Princess, which again is another one of these pay what you want downloadable dungeon module.
The cover is other than the artwork, like the layout looks like the old TSR D&D books, and so
Right.
does the maps.
Which you do get if you buy it. You get a PDF, and then you get all of the maps as well that you need to run this, which I think is really cool. It's for what's called the Shadow Dark RPG. Not something I know.
Yeah, that one came completely out of left field for me.
And I tell you open the link for it, and you see this gorgeous painting of this almost like African style princess, and it is nuts almost.
Yeah, I mean it's a she's got like tattoos on her face. It's gorgeous.
Right, absolutely beautiful looking one. Definitely one to check out. Next up we have the Stranded RPG, which was the
Traveler.
Traveler remastering of the old Traveler adventure, Stranded. Was really cool. I have not played Traveler personally. I know it's kind of gotten a new life almost again recently in the last few years. I think it got republished and like re-edited, so that was really cool to see. Beautiful looking book.
Yeah,
like, definitely something I really like the look of.
I want to give Traveler a chance. I know that it, like you say, I mean it's seeing a resurgence. I've never played it, even though it's been around forever. For whatever reason just never picked it up.
It has one of the most basic covers I've ever seen on a game. It's just like a black. You know what it looks like? It looks like a black slip on an old VHS tape.
Very much
simple.
So. Yeah.
Very simple, kind of silly. And then last but not least, we have the 2022 Level 1 Anthology, which I know is not the new one, which we just covered I thought would be that one that we just covered in our free RPG Day one. That one I didn't really know as much about. I haven't gotten a chance to flip through, but again, if it's anything like the most recent one, like those just keep getting better every year they come out.
Yeah.
So
very happy to see them get some more notoriety.
Right. In terms of out of these, which one you think is best of like a quick one? I would say the Root one is always a high one, but also that Exclusion Zone Botanist one.
Yeah, that definitely looked interesting to me.
Yeah.
Those two are tops for me. I definitely want to see more of the Shrine of the Jaguar Princess.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They look great.
Next up, we come to our second to last one, which is Best Game, which has the first one is something we've covered.
Yeah.
First one is Fabula Ultima, the core rulebook, which is what more can we say other than it's amazing?
Yeah, we love it, and I really hope that they win it.
Yeah, there's some other good options on here. And actually, I was joking with Adam. The second option is Flabbergasted, which I'm reading now, and they're both fighting for that first spot. They are both really good. Both of these just really solid games. Like, I was amazed looking through this year. Sometimes the best game, I'm like, I don't know. Like all of these look fun.
Yeah.
Definitely Flabbergasted again. We'll probably have a review of it up soon on the channel. It's fun. Next up, we have Passion de la Passions, which is literally like a Spanish soap opera as a role-playing game.
Love it.
It's even got the Harlequin dirty cover to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. They found... this is kind of like the AM radio when they found something that no one had ever done before.
Right.
And judging from everything that I've seen of it, it looks like no one is going to be able to do this because they've done it.
Yeah.
They covered this as much as you can. It looks great. It looks like a great book. I think it'd be really fun to do this with a group of people well.
I actually think it'd be fun to do with a group of people where everyone's constantly rotating out. Like in an actual soap opera where it's like, oh, he's dead. Yeah. And then like 2 weeks later he comes back and plays, he's like, he's alive!
He's alive! He was in a coma!
Yeah, like something, I don't know. It looks fun. It looks silly. I had no idea what it was, and when I clicked on it, I went, what the heck is this? But it definitely looks cool. Like, I think it's a really cool, kind of fun one.
And one of our local shops does have a copy of that.
Ooh. Don't tell me that. I need to I might go buy it, unfortunately. Next up, we got a really cool one. Slugbuster Kickflip over a Quantum Centipede.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's a little I didn't get to delve that much into it. It is a really cool looking, like, teenage skateboarders, intergalactic slugs, kind of fun living, oh my gosh, I'm a teenager and everything sucks kind of lifestyle.
It's like a very vibrant neon 90s color palette, with just a lot of wild stuff going on.
Oh yeah, it looks fun. I think if you're looking for something a little bit like throwbacky, kind of funky style, you know what it reminds me of? And this is gonna be a real callback. Toe Jam and Earl.
Yes.
Like literally that
Yes.
sort of style of funkiness and weirdness.
You bet.
Oh yeah, again, if you are in any way going, what the heck about that? Definitely look it up. It looks interesting. And then last but not least, we have Trophy RPG, which is a tabletop role-playing game of, and I'll read it basically from the website, dark forest, doomed treasure hunters, and a world woven on the loom of rumor, history, and myth.
It reminds me of the movie The Ritual.
Have not seen that.
Oh my gosh. The Ritual, like, without spoiling it for you, it's dark. There's woods.
Okay.
And you will be uncomfortable the entire time, and then whenever you get to the end, you'll just be amazed.
Okay.
And it's based on a book, and I haven't read the book yet, but this looks like an RPG that is The Ritual adjacent.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very story driven. It's about, you're on this doomed expedition into this forest. It has the feeling of something we would like. It reminds me a lot of Heart, the City Beneath kind of style look to it. Very cool little book. I mean, it looks interesting. Again, don't know a lot about these. Best game, do you think you pick Fabula Ultima out of all of these to be your best game?
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. But out of all of them for best game, I'm still thinking Fabula Ultima.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to pick Fabula Ultima. Again, Flabbergasted, I think, will be very good. I think it might get close to what Fabula Ultima is. And honestly, I'm not ruling out Passion de la Passions. Like, it is
hey, that might be the dark horse there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be even Slugbuster. I mean, like, these are, again, just kind of weird ones. But finally, we'll go to our last one, which is Product of the Year, which is a very interesting one where there's a ton of stuff in this. It's not just, adventure books or core books. It's, again, kind of anything. And the first thing up is Broken Tales, which I'm probably going to have to pick this up.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, it's one of those covers. It's black and red, very, and the interior art is, so it's black, red, and white. So if you've seen the Cursed City box from Games Workshop,
very similar.
It really stands out at you. This is my first time seeing this.
Me too.
This book. I'd not come across it before the Ennies were, the nominations were announced. So I'm gonna try to look more into this. I mean, it looks very horror themed. So
it's a weird setting of how, like, you're the villains in a fairy tale, and the heroes win, but then they get corrupted, and now you're all these villains in this fairy tale teaming up together to stop the heroes.
Yeah.
Very kind of turning on your head kind of style. I don't know. It definitely, like you said, the art looks really creepy but interesting. I had never heard of it, like you said, by World Anvil, which I don't know, but it looks like it looks like an Italian company. Which again, man, Italians, man, they're killing it on the RPG front all of a sudden. Next up, we have Eldritch Overload, specifically the tarot cards and the codexes. I don't know a whole lot about these, but good God, are they gorgeous?
Yeah, more of the kind of neon colors.
Yeah,
just very striking.
Yeah,
their imagery.
Again, not a whole lot known about this one, unfortunately. Didn't really get an opportunity to dig through it, but, it looks like it's a source book for 5e, and it's, again, deals with tarot of some kind. So, interesting little idea. Beautiful to look at, definitely for sure. Again, Fabula Ultima core rulebook for product of the year. What can we say? It's amazing. Keep talking about it. Keep looking at it. Watch our review if you haven't yet. It's definitely worth it. Flabbergasted.
Love it.
Love it. I mean, it's really cool. Speaking of what you were just talking about a little bit while ago with Household as well. Household is a really interesting sort of role-playing game where you're stuck in like a large abandoned house and every room is a world for you to explore.
Yeah. And I mean, it's got fairies apparently. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm in.
Yeah, no, it is definitely interesting one. It looks like
it's got a free quick start there on their website.
Free quick start, small pools of 6-sided dice. You're kind of playing these like little fairy-esque creatures inside this household. Very cool book. Again, another Italian one. I don't know. Italy, man, I'm telling you, they're coming out of the woodworks. All of a sudden, they just decided to do RPGs. I don't know what it is. Next up is Journey Through the Radiant Citadel, which, to be honest with you, I just didn't really care to look at. It's a fifth edition. I looked
at the book. I mean, it's a pretty well put together book. If you really liked the Candlekeep adventure book that they released, was it a year or two ago?
Yeah.
If you really like that, then you'll probably like the Radiant Citadel,
right?
Because it's an anthology of short adventures. Yeah. So, I mean, give it a look if you want it to be smaller, loosely connected adventures rather than being a campaign. Give it a look.
The other thing I like about it too, one of the things that they kind of marketed about it, which may have been for them to try and get out of some of their issues they had, unfortunately.
Wizards of the Coast problems.
Yeah, was the fact this book is written all by non-white and then mostly LGBTQIA+ people, which I think was really cool that they gave them that opportunity to like let some of these maybe lesser known creators come out there and do stuff.
Representation is great.
Yeah.
I just, I would love, I like whenever that shows up in the Ennie Awards.
Right. Absolutely. Next up we have the Rivers of London role-playing game, which we just talked and did our review about, Call of Cthulhu. Like this again, another kind of Call of Cthulhu-esque looking style game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be a sucker for anything Chaosium.
Right.
Anything that might fit Call of Cthulhu, really, I'm going to gravitate toward it.
Yeah.
And it just looked like an overall cool book.
Right. It has a really cool thing that I like about it, where it's, again, this whole... You're in London. You're part of this special magic branch of the police. It's got a solo adventure, which I think is really cool. It sounds actually very similar to the one that's in the Call of Cthulhu starter box, which I think is really cool to kind of get you into the game. So, yeah, definitely a cool looking one on that regard. Again, Swords of the Serpentine.
Yep.
I mean, what do we have to say about that other than, again, we are excited.
Yep.
It's Gumshoe. It looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it for that one. Trophy RPG box set. Again, we just talked about it up at Best Game. Don't know a whole lot about it, but again, really cool looking game. And then last but not least out of that, 10th is Vaesen RPG Mythic Britain and Ireland again. So a pretty good list, honestly. None of these didn't. I mean, I know what I said about Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel being but that's more because I'm just kind of off D&D at the moment in 5th edition, but a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, same here. I'm kind of burned out on Wizards of the Coast products, especially over the stuff that happened in January and February. If you're not aware, I mean, it's all over YouTube.
Right.
But, I love when we get to look at these smaller independent publishers, people who usually don't get a lot of press. This is a good way for them to finally be recognized for really doing stuff that's different.
Mm-hmm.
And, who knows? Some of these games, you may grab them and they suddenly become your new favorite. So, hey, give them a look.
Instead of us doing our number one for this, what do we give 3? And we'll each pick one. then I'll pick one, and we'll try and get maybe not the same 3.
Yeah,
so
okay.
kind of different one. How about you start? Pick one.
For like number 3.
But just in general, I don't know about
Okay.
grading all these. I
Okay.
think they're for product of the year. I mean, we could pick our top, but I think it's more fun just to pick maybe 6 of them that interest out. Because I think if it's for product of the year, it's got to be pretty decent kind of stuff.
I think for me, Fabula Ultima, it's just going to be so hard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a good product, but maybe that's because I like the theme.
It's the target audience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm specifically one of the people who they would target that for.
Right.
So maybe I'm biased because of the theme. Second, I'm really excited about Household. It's it just looks so interesting. Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. It looks very much like the Borrowers with Fairy mixed in. And I mean, Swords of the Serpentine. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. It definitely, those all 3 really good choices. I think if I'm gonna pick 3 different ones, I think top first for me would be if I can't unfortunately pick Fabula Ultima, though again, I wouldn't be surprised if it does win product of the year. It's so good, it's so well done. Again, even we are the target audience for it. I think it's just a great little game. I'll pick Flabbergasted. I again think if you're looking for something a little bit different, something a little bit funky, Flabbergasted is the way to go. I mean, it looks so much fun, so much silliness. I actually think it's good for non-RPG players to kind of step out. Again, look for our review on that soon. Picking a second one, I think Rivers of London actually really excites me. It seems very cool. Very much, again, the Chaosium kind of style. And let's be honest, Chaosium puts out high-quality product, and I know that it's going to be good more than likely, so totally down for that. And then my third one, I'll wild card it, and I'm going to pick Broken Tales. I don't know anything really about it other than the fact that, again, it's that kind of fairy tale on its head style, but man, does it look good.
It looks like it's a really well put together product.
Right. So that's to kind of end our talk again about the Ennies. Definitely give it a look, check it out, and let us know in the comments, what do you think about it? Was there something that grabbed your eye? Or, were you upset that something wasn't put on the Ennies? I think that's something definitely, nowadays we look and see there's so much stuff coming out in the RPG market, like it's hard to pick and put down, Let us know about that. Going to segue, though, to a second topic again for us to talk about. We're going to talk about something different, moving away from RPGs. We're going to talk about miniature games now.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about specifically Age of Sigmar 3rd Edition Path to Glory. And I will be honest with you, I never thought I'd be saying we are starting a Path to Glory. I
didn't think we would be playing anything Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, people who don't really know my background, again, I'm heavy in the miniature games. I played an absolute ton of 2nd edition Age of Sigmar, played it competitively for a long time, played Ogres, Martribes when they were re-released, loved it, big guy myself, love playing the big guys. 3rd edition came out, they changed the way that the game was kind of played. I didn't love it. It was more hero focused, not unit focused, and man, just it wasn't for me. And, we've sat down and we've talked about it. We play a lot of other games. You can see, we reviewed Underworlds. We play Underworlds, play some Warcry for a while. And, Adam's been kind of itching at me to be like, hey, man.
I wanted to try it. I've only played 2 games of Age of Sigmar 2nd edition.
Right.
And I would sit down to try to learn how to play 3rd edition using the rule book. And I don't like the layout. Also not a big fan of the fact that the rule book is so small, and I'm getting older. I can't read it. So, it's hard for me to read without my reading glasses, which I can't keep taking on and off during play. But I wanted to try it. And when Bryce came to me and said, okay, well, if we're going to do this, why don't we try Path to Glory, which is more of a narrative-driven campaign where you have ownership. There is a really a kind of story that you're trying to push, and things that happen to your heroes are going to carry over between games. And I think for us, if we're going to do it, that's the way we're going to do it.
Right. And, again, I am not a huge fan of 3rd edition Age of Sigmar. Even after playing it now a few times, I still am not 100% sold on what all the changes. I still like my 2nd edition, I think. But I think the Path to Glory works really well. Again, you can play Age of Sigmar in so many different ways, one of which being the narrative play. And for us, Path to Glory is that. We're going to pick and build armies. We're starting at the lowest total, 600 points, which is very small, kind of get us into the game. And basically what Path to Glory does is very similar to what Adam said. You start with a warlord hero, build your army, and then over time play games, take wounds and battle scars to your guys, gain abilities, really levels your characters up. And that's kind of like, to me, that's what we enjoy. If anyone's a big fan of like Frostgrave or any of those kind of narrative role-playing miniature games, that's kind of what Path to Glory is. And so we've been really excited to kind of look at Path to Glory and check it out. But we just wanted to talk about it being our start for it, because we're probably going to do, maybe in every podcast episode coming up, talk a little bit about it at the end of wherever we're talking about. Speaking of, for this first one, we just want to talk about the armies we're playing. So what are you playing, Adam?
So I'm going to be playing Cruel Boys, the Auric war clan of the Cruel Boys. So what I have is, I bought the Extremis starter set that came with Cruel Boys, and it came with a bunch of Stormcast Eternal models. It came with terrain. It came with one of the boards to use, and so I bought that, and I also bought the Warrior starter set, which we may do an episode of the YouTube show devoted to comparing those. But I bought those, and a few other models. I got some of the Man Skewer Bolt Boys and the Beast Killer Bolt Boy model, and I've put together at least it's more than 600 points, but I can kind of cut that down based on what I want to do at that particular time. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying the Cruel Boys.
Yeah. And then for me, myself, I am finally doing it. I am finally playing the army I've always wanted to play. I just didn't want to put the money into it. I'm playing Beast of Chaos.
Yay.
I love Beast of Chaos. I wanted to play them very heavily in 2nd edition, actually. But their new book has kind of changed the way they play. They're very different. But I've really enjoyed looking through their book and kind of changing. It's just something about a bunch of goatmen running around with axes. Like, I don't know. It's cool to me. It's fun. It's different.
Yeah.
It's very much, I'm playing more of the all herd style. So a lot of like gores and ungores, and less of like the big monsters and the more like bull gores and stuff. So definitely going to be fun. I think it'll be interesting for us to play. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more maybe about it on each episode we do, and go maybe do more in-depth dives into Path to Glory later on. But this one, we just kind of wanted to introduce it and talk about it a little bit before we ended this one after talking about the Ennies. But that's going to probably wrap us up for our first episode. This, again, podcast was kind of a way for us to have a long link, something that wasn't just a video, more easy for us to kind of talk about what we were doing and kind of talk about a topic that, again, wasn't just a core starter box or anything like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, hope you guys really enjoyed this one. Leave a shout out in the comments. It definitely, anything that interests you from the Ennies, if something wasn't on the Ennies that you wish was, or if you are a fan of Path to Glory AOS and you enjoy, tell us about your experience. But until next time, all of y'all, again, take care, and thanks for listening.
Bye.